Welcome, fellow dairy farmers. I want to welcome you to the year 2025, and I'm just going to put together a bunch of outtakes from the past year. They'll all be drone photos because that's what I have the most of, but I thought I would show you what we did last year. I'm just starting out with the winter, and as we go along I'll show you the 4 seasons. My name is Bruce, and most farmers drive tractors, but I drive a wheelchair. My family is 6th generation dairy farmers here in Wisconsin. My great-great-great-grandfather came from Germany in 1849 to start farming in Wisconsin. We are the proud caretaker of 1,200 Holstein cows. The first thing is in the spring, as soon as the soil dries out enough, we begin to plant our alfalfa. We work up old corn and soybean fields and rotate into alfalfa. Here the tractor driver is just using the harrow to level off the field to get it ready for planting. Here we've finished smoothing out the field, and this is the air seeder planting the alfalfa. We just blow it out of the seeder onto the surface of the soil, and we'll come back and just roll it in real lightly so it's just got a good soil cover. After we're done seeding the alfalfa, we have to pump out the Manure Lagoon and put that on the fields that are going to be planted in corn. So we haul the manure to the remote fields with truck and dump it in this dumpster where it gets pumped out into the field to the tractor. It's quite a process. It takes some time and labor intensive, but it has to be done, and it's good fertilizer. The manure gets pumped out to the tractor through the hose. We can pump about a mile, so there's quite a bit of hose going on out here. And you can see the tractor in the background, and he just drags the hose behind him and applies the manure as it gets to the tractor. Here shows some of the equipment that we use to pump the manure. The hose reel is on the left. That's where we store the hose. We've got maintenance vehicles, and we've got a tractor running a primary pump over to the high pressure pump, and just the trucks unloading. It's an interesting operation, and here's the tractor out in the field just applying the manure. When we get enough manure out of the lagoon to last us until later in the summer, we begin planting corn. Timing is really critical. So we get the corn in when it is the appropriate time. It's nothing new than any other of the big grain farmers in the Midwest. We plant the corn when the conditions are correct. The next season we get into is cutting our first crop of alfalfa hay. Even before the corn is all planted, we begin cutting alfalfa hay. It needs to be cut when the protein is highest, so when it's ready to go, we go. After it's cut, we merge it into 60-foot rows so that the chopper does not have to travel so much through the field. We combine about 60 feet of alfalfa into one row for the chopper. When the alfalfa hay is dry enough, we go along with the chopper, load it into trucks and haul it back to the farm and pack it in the pile. In a normal year, we cut the alfalfa hay 4 times. This past summer, we got a whole bunch of rain right at the second crop time. So we had to borrow the neighbors' dump wagons to chop our hay. We didn't want to drive through the field with the fully loaded semis, so we chopped into the dump wagons. Here you can see them unloading into the trucks. So it's just another step in the process, which was kind of a pain, but necessary. When the trucks get back to the farm, we dump them and we use the tractors to pack it down in the pile to eliminate as much oxygen as possible. When we're finished with third crop alfalfa hay, then we go back to pumping the manure lagoon again. We can take fields that were alfalfa hay and work them up that when their life cycle is done after 4 to 5 years, we will rotate back into corn. So we put manure on the fields. And again, it's the same process for remote fields. We haul in the trucks. This year, we had a very serious accident with one of our trucks, so we will now be outsourcing hauling our manure. The next process we move into is chopping corn silage. Most of our corn is raised for silage. We use a lot of silage in our feed. So the same chopper that was used for hay is also used for corn. We just switch a different head to it and we chop corn for a couple weeks. And again, we pack it in the pile, the same as the haylage. We have to eliminate as much of the oxygen as possible, so we use the tractors to pack down the pile and preserve the corn silage. We move into harvesting our grain corn after silage and when the grain corn is appropriate moisture to be harvested. We always plant extra corn in case the yield isn't there for silage, and we have to harvest it for grain as we go on. And we also plant some soybeans, so we do the corn and the soybeans kind of alternately depending on the year. After all the crops are harvested, it's back to the field with pumping manure. We have to make sure our Manure Lagoon has room for 8 million gallons to last throughout the winter. We are not allowed to spread manure anytime after the ground freezes until the 1st of April. So we need the room. Here I'm just showing how we can drag the hose across the field without blowing it out. It saves us a lot of time and work. Since we are outsourcing our manure hauling with the trucks, we need to make sure the trucks are moving all the time and we can keep the applicator moving. Here's a short clip of how we load our trucks. We just pump the manure with the tractor into the overhead filling spout. The trucks pull under, we fill them, and away they go. The Manure Lagoon is getting pretty empty here, so it's the end of the season. If you like this video, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you and showing more videos in 2025. Thanks for watching.